At a time when affordability and accessibility to female hygiene products remain a major concern for a large number of women across the country, the revised GST rates released last week will make menstruation costlier, it seems, even as products such as contraceptives and condoms and symbols of marriage such as Sindoor, Bangles and Bindis have been exempted from the list. Congress MP Sushmita Dev has started an online petition which has received over 3 lakh signatures asking the finance minister to abolish the tax on sanitary napkins.
So this is an appeal to remove tax, some more tax.
Yeah, Mr. Jaitley, if you're listening, sanitary napkin tax has to stop. We support the movement, not just because of women all across India, but also because of Kunal, who's just started using sanitary napkins. So please, sir, do the right thing. Remove the tax. Don't worry.
80% of women and me can't afford it.
Hi, Mr. Arun Jaitley, I'm Shanaz, actress and travel blogger. I'm glad to go on a trip, so I'm packing. This is what I put in my bag: my luxury shoes, my luxury sunglasses, my luxury sunscreens, my fine skin. Oh, and of course, I could never do without these, my luxury sanitary napkins. You know, 12% of us Indians can afford this, right? The other 88% have to use wood shavings, grass, plastic, old cloth, mud. I'm so blessed I can use my luxury sanitary napkin. Well, I'm off my trip now. Bye, Sarojit.
हाय, मेरा नाम विशाल ददलानी है। हाल ही में फेसबुक और ट्विटर पर एक कैंपेन चला है जिसका नाम है #लहू का लगान। इस कैंपेन के तहत श्री अरुण जेटली, जो कि हमारे देश के फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट की गई है कि सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स पर टैक्स हटाया जाए। ये बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि इस देश की 88% औरतें सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाती, और जो कि नहीं अफोर्ड कर पाती वो यूज़ करती हैं बहुत सारी अनहाइजीनिक मटेरियल्स, जिनकी वजह से उन्हें हेल्थ की बहुत तकलीफें होती हैं। औरतें हमारे देश की आधी आबादी हैं और आई थिंक हमारी ड्यूटी बनती है कि उनके हेल्थ की तरफ हम थोड़ा सा ध्यान दें। आप सब इस मुहिम को सपोर्ट करें, #लहू का लगान यूज़ करें, अरुण जेटली साहब को लिखें कि GST एक्ट बनते बनते ये टैक्स जो है वो अगर हट जाए तो बहुत अच्छा होगा इंडिया के लिए। आई थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर सपोर्ट। याद कीजिए #लहू का लगान। थैंक यू।
Let's go across to my colleague Ananya, joining us from the newsroom now. Ananya, it's a novel way of getting the finance minister's attention. Celebrities have lent their voices and their faces to this as well. How many signatures has it gathered till now?
Several thousand, in fact, Athar. This was a change.org petition as well that was started by Congress MP Sushmita Dev on the fact that sanitary napkins should not be charged under the GST, but that has gone to the finance minister. No reaction to that yet. So the question, in fact, on several sites, if you see, this is a campaign across social media as well, across news portals as well, where they are pointing out, is Sindoor more important than sanitary napkin? Because Sindoor is not being taxed, condoms are not being taxed, but sanitary napkins are being taxed. In fact, what we do know at this point is that in some states, the taxes can go up to 14.5%. So it's also a question of hygiene, it's a question of women's health, and the attention of the government is being drawn to the fact that this is about the 88% women in your country.
Right. We also go across to Urvashi Konna joining us for more on this. Urvashi, this campaign is really catching up, not just across the internet space, but also now as we are carrying it as well. Other media houses will also be carrying it. There are celebrities who've lent their voice to it. It's a petition started by a Congress MP. What else are you picking up in terms of support for this campaign and the possibility of a response from the finance minister?
Well, if we talk about state Maharashtra, from the state of Maharashtra out there, we see that this is one particular person, social worker, who is also known as period man for his efforts on menstrual hygiene that he's been doing. He has written a letter, an open letter to Arun Jaitley out there, and he has come out on this particular whole subject. And let me tell you, there has been all across support for the kind of tax-free sanitary napkins that are there. And over here is that it is written in letter, when they come out and say that revalue menstruation as a clean and natural biological process, and it is not a voluntary act, neither it is a luxury. All women on an average menstruate from 12 to 51, and that we see there has been a kind of a trend wherein a lot of many people, women, are not using it They're deprived of this because of high rates, and now when taxes that come out to be maximum in amount are applied on napkins, it is not considered. Taxes that come out to be maximum in amount are applied on napkins. It is not considered, or rather it is not accepted. That's what is the voice that we are getting on
Right,
ground.
so some support there for the campaign, and it is really an innovative way of highlighting an issue that is extremely important, that is extremely crucial to 50% of the population in this country happen to be women, and since there is no tax on Sindoor and bangles and other symbols of marriage, why should there be a tax on sanitary napkins as well? Jagmati Sangwan joins us now. She's an activist on the phone line. Jagmati Sangwan, this is a very innovative campaign, and people do believe, especially all women who use sanitary napkins, that they should be exempt really from the GST rates. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that, because a huge number of women are unable to afford the cost of sanitary napkins. They are that is why they are forced to go for some other choices and alternatives which are not safe for their health. And at least when we are saying that this government is for Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and all. So this type of debate and all on the sanitary napkins we expect.
Right, stay with us. Jagmati Sangwan, Ira Trivedi also joining us right now. She's an author on the phone line. Ira, it's a very innovative campaign, extremely crucial and is necessary, if you ask me. We do hope the government listens, the finance minister listens. How important is it really for tax to be exempt on products like sanitary napkins?
Extremely important. Okay, as it is, a large percentage of women in India do not use sanitary napkins because they're beyond their reach. So I do think that it's a very negative sign to be taxing sanitary napkins. This is not a frivolous product. This is a necessary product, like a medicine. Like, it is even more important than a medicine because every single woman uses it. It's mandatory. We should be advocating the use of sanitary napkins. It actually helps prevent disease for women. It helps them gives them mobility. It really helps every single woman in this country. So instead of not talking about it, instead of just keeping quiet about it, I'm so glad that women have come up and are loudly raising their voices on this issue, because it is not an option to tax sanitary napkins. It should not be taxed at all. In fact, the government should be promoting the use of sanitary napkins and not taxing them. I'm absolutely aghast by the government's very callous take on the subject. And I feel it's because it's men who are mostly behind the GST and who are, behind every sort of tax campaign in India. It's men who are making decisions. Women aren't even consulted or talked to. So I do think that at the heart of the issue is the fact that our governance is dominated by men.
Right, but that of course is the case almost in every country, of course, with some exceptions. Stay with us, Ira. We also have Nilanjana Chakrabarti joining us on this. Nilanjana, clearly this is a very important issue, something the government needs to look at. If the government wants to come up with pro-women policies, this could be one. If they exempt sanitary napkins from tax exemption, then perhaps it could be a small step.
Absolutely. The fact of the matter remains that the government has shown its intentions to work at the grassroots level, and also the fact that sanitary napkins should be available to one and all across India, I think, especially in the rural areas. So it's but obvious that we need to have a complete economical package as far as the sanitary napkins are concerned, because that's basic hygiene. Here we're talking about Swachh Bharat. We are talking about, having advertisements which are, proclaiming that, women should use toilets and, should build toilets, families should build toilets. So when that is so important on the agenda of the government, and the government has made initiatives, so I think this is a very, very basic requirement. It's a necessity. It's not a luxury. It's something which you really need to, advocate, and it's very mandatory. And especially when, there are so many lady ministers in the government, I think this should have been made a top priority. there should not have been any kind of discussion. There's no room for any discussion and debate.
Right.
Period.
All right. Thank you, Ira, Nilanjana, and Jagpati Sangwan for joining us. Let's go back to Ananya for a bit. Ananya, you said several thousand signatures have already come forth in support of this particular innovative campaign started by Sushmita Dev. She's an MP as well. It must also perhaps be largely based out of Delhi and Mumbai, since in rural areas, I'm being told, correct me if I'm wrong, people don't even have access to sanitary napkins.
You are right. You are right. In fact, that's one figure I wanted to point out, Athar. She says data highlights that adolescent girls miss at least 5 days of school monthly in rural areas owing to their periods, whereas close to 23% girls drop out of school when they start menstruating. So that's the situation in rural areas that women across India are now trying to highlight, those who have access to the internet, those who have access to petition the finance minister directly.
Right, Ananya, stay with us. Sushmita Dev, Congress MP, is on the phone line with us. Sushmita, your campaign that you've started, quite an innovative one, is gathering steam now. What has the response been so far?
I'll say it's deeply disappointing that an essential commodity didn't attract the attention of the GST Council members. And from what I can see on my Twitter account, that, across different, I would say, sexes, caste, creed, everybody is quite shocked that sanitary napkins have not been treated at par with other essential commodities.
Were you surprised when Sindoor was exempt and bangles were exempt, but sanitary napkins were not?
See, I can only imagine, because I don't know what happened at the GST Council meeting, but the reason they have, the possible reason for making Sindoor and bangles tax-free is they think, presumably, is for the benefit of women. But I think if sanitary napkins would have found place in the tax exemption, that would have been a real contribution to women empowerment. Because, see, poor menstrual hygiene is a reason for death of women, especially poor women. And I believe that sanitary napkins are a necessity, and if they had made it tax-free, it would have been a big thing. But to tax it is to actually, it militates against a woman's fundamental right, which is the right to life. So, I mean, Sindoor and bangles will not empower women, and neither will it add to their right to life under the Constitution.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Maneka Gandhi spoke to NewsX yesterday, and she kept harping on the point that the government was committed to justice for women, for the liberation of women. Perhaps she should have given some thought to this. Now, I want to ask you whether or not you feel there will be a positive response from the finance minister, since the campaign, of course, is asking him directly to make sure the tax is exempt on sanitary napkins. Are you hopeful that the government will respond?
Well, I met Mr. Jaitley Monday for the last GST Council meeting, and he seemed optimistic. So I'm quite surprised that it has happened. I really want to thank your channel for taking it up, because I'm hoping that the national media will take it up, and I hope Mr. Jaitley is watching television, because 3 lakh people find change or petition, and I think it's very, very unfortunate that the GST, and I have said to all the finance ministers of the country, all the finance ministers who are members of the GST Council. So let's see what happens on the 3rd.
Clearly, it's a worthwhile campaign. It's an extremely important one, a crucial one to women's safety, their health and their empowerment in this country, especially given the fact that rural areas don't even have access. A large part of India where women are residing do not have access to sanitary napkins, because they're either too expensive or out of the reach of that particular rural population. Sushmita, one last word before we let you go. This, of course, is something that any progressive government should have immediately gotten hold of and couldn't have missed. The fact that the government has, we're not going to hold them responsible for that, but we can hope that the government will respond to the campaign and try and lift the tax under the GST on sanitary pads, sanitary napkins as well. If they do, then of course this movement would have been successful. If they don't, or fail to respond, what exactly are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep petitioning the government or the finance minister? Are you going to give up then?
See, menstrual hygiene is a much larger issue. Affordability is one aspect, but the last mile delivery is a real challenge. But when it comes to the fiscal policy, I'll tell Arun Jaitley ji and request him and request the Prime Minister of India that Beti Bachao, this is literally, it's a blow to his slogan, Beti Bachao, for the GST Council to have overlooked this. And I can tell you that this is not the end of the battle, because I seriously think it's a violation of the fundamental right of a woman, and I'm actually considering challenging it in court if GST Council eventually doesn't agree to reduce the tax or exempt it from GST.
Well, more power to you, Sushmita Dev. Thank you for joining us and thank you for starting this campaign. Sushmita Dev there, Congress MP from Assam. We'll also now get you some reactions coming in. Let's take a look.
I believe that the government should seriously reconsider its decision on taxing sanitary napkins. On one hand, we say that condoms and contraceptives needs to be used. It is a necessity and they are tax-free. At the same time, I believe sanitary napkins should also be tax-free, as it is not a luxury item but a need. I believe the current GST tax on sanitary napkins is the violation of the fundamental right of every woman, and I'm sure that the Honorable Arun Jaitley, the Minister of Finance, will accept our request for 100% tax exemption on biodegradable and eco-friendly pads.
Go back to Ananya now for more on this. Ananya, the government hasn't really responded yet to it, but I'm guessing they'll take some time since the campaign has just started, although big celebrities as well as other well-known personalities have lent their voice to it.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Athar, you were just speaking to Sushmita Dev, and let me just take you through her petition here on change.org. I don't know if you can zoom in on this phone, and this is the petition that she has sent to Arun Jaitley for removal of tax on sanitary napkin. Athar, you were asking me about the number of signatures on that petition. Here's that number. It is over 3 lakh signatures already. 3 lakh 2,260 petitions already. And if you're watching this and you feel strongly about this, you agree with this, then please sign this petition as well. It's on change.org, and this petition is being sent to the Finance Minister of India. Here's what's written in this petition. Only about 12% of the 355 million women use sanitary napkins in India. The 12% is liable to a VAT that can go up to 14%, varying from state to state. These are the flashes, in fact, we're putting up on our screens as well, so that you're able to read that better. In fact, media reports a 12% tax is expected to be applicable even with the proposed goods and services tax, that is the GST, is what this petition says. So women of India cannot afford sanitary napkins. About 70% women cannot afford sanitary napkins. So please do factor that in. This is a request to the government, and this is the petition that's now being sent to the Finance Minister, Arun Jaitley. This is Sushmita Dev's petition that we were talking about, Athar.
All right, there you go. Change.org is where it's at. If you do care about this particular issue, do log on to change.org, find the petition, find the campaign, and lend your support. Thank you, Ananya, for joining us on that story. We'll take a short